Hey guys, Jared Beckwith here. I'm a registered EEG technologist, and in today's video, I'm going to show how to do a DIY at-home sleep study with my EEG machine, AiON. Now, first step is to just plug in the USB cables, very simple, and then plug it into the laptop. Once the USBs are plugged in, we're going to need some electrodes to record our brainwaves. So I got some gold cup electrodes here that come in the kit. And here they are, a little up close. Now I have a specific color code system that I use when hooking up EEGs in a hospital, so I tried to adapt that to this at-home sleep study. So here I go, untangling the wires and picking out the colors that I want to use for this study. We have our right hemisphere wires. F4 is going to be red, C4 will be orange, and O2 will be the green wire. Now the EKG will be this blue wire, and the reference as white and ground as brown. All plugged in and ready to do our sleep study. To start off the hookup, I prepped my reference spot, which in this case, the ideal place for a sleep study recording the right side of the brain. Our reference, we're going to want to choose A1. Now that's just behind the left ear, so the opposite ear of the side that we're recording. Now I scrubbed behind the left ear, made sure it was good, prepped, ready to go, because the scrubbing decreases the impedance, which increases the connection that the wires get. And since everything's compared to the reference, we want to make sure we get this one perfect. So I placed it down, and to secure it a little better, I take a piece of coverall tape and stick it on behind my ear. This way it keeps the reference secure even if I move a bit in my sleep or if I start sweating. I might be a little nervous doing my first sleep study, so I might start sweating in my sleep. So I wanted to make sure the reference is secure so we don't waste the whole night's recording. Take double care to make sure your reference is secure and tape the tail down so it doesn't fall off. Now that that one's secure, we can go on to the ground. For the ground, I just chose FPZ. You could also put it behind the other ear. That's another spot. I just put it essentially in the center of my forehead, the lower center of my forehead. After scrubbing the ground, which you also want to take very good care to scrub hard so we get good connection, good impedance. I put it behind my head and place it down just like this. Move the hair out the way. That's another big problem people have when learning EEG. If you put it on top of the hair and don't get it on the scalp, the connection's just not going to be good, guys. So a little trial and error will get it better. Now here we go, looking good for the ground. Very nice. On to the next one. So we're going to start with the first brain electrode. It's going to be F4, my first active recording electrode. It's essentially going to be the top right part of the forehead, going into the hairline a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact for this DIY sleep study since we're recording sleep structures that originate mostly in the center of the brain and spread out across the whole brain. So we're going to record them regardless, even if it's a centimeter or two off. Just try and place it as close as you can to the spot and get a good connection. So I may have placed it a little lower than normal, but I avoid the hair and we get a good connection for a recording. F4 successfully set up. Now here's probably the most important electrode in our DIY sleep study, which is C4. Now that's going to be in the center of the head, maybe 6 to 7 centimeters to the right of the very center of your head. So staying generally in line with the F4 electrode that we placed. This one's going to be a little tougher because we have the hair. As you can see, I'm parting the hair with my fingers and with the Q-tips a bit. Now with the scalp scrubbed, I use my fingers to feel around and try to get it onto the scalp, parting the hair so it's not sitting up on top of the hair. Now you may need to practice with just a F4 hookup, reference ground F4, but that will train you to eventually work with hair so we can get a more full sleep study hookup. Now here I go to the back of the head at O2. I found the AiON, which is the bump in the back of the head, and then went slightly up about 3.5 centimeters, and then slightly to the right, maybe 3 centimeters. So just ballparking it. It doesn't have to be exact. It's still going to record the wakefulness in the back of the head, the posterior dominant rhythm. So when you're awake with your eyes closed, relaxed, you'll see a nice between 8 and 12 waves per second with this O2 electrode. Very important to detect wakefulness. Now, this one was a little bit difficult to place. People usually have trouble putting on O2 even when hooking up other patients when they're beginning EEG, so you might struggle with this. I did a little bit. See, I'm prepping it again just to double check. And since I know O2 is so important for at least wakefulness, not necessarily sleep, I wanted to make sure I got it on good. The next step was to hook up the EKG heart monitor, and to do that, I scrubbed my left shoulder and I placed the electrode in the spot where I scrubbed. I wiped away the prep so it doesn't slip off. It was slipping off a bit, tends to do that with this one. So I placed a little piece of tape on it as well to secure it overnight. Now, the reason why we don't have to put it exactly over the heart is we're not doing a professional EKG study, and the heartbeat, the electrical activity is so strong that even if you just place the wire on your shoulder, it will still be picked up by the EEG machine. Pretty cool, guys. And it also gives you a little insight that there can be some EKG noise that actually bleeds into the EEG brainwaves. It's not coming from the brain, it's coming from the EKG just because the heart's so strong. When starting the study, I realized I made a grave mistake. We forgot the right eyelid, guys. So I placed that on underneath my right eye and started the recording. Now, whenever starting an EEG, you're going to want to do a tap test. Now, to do that, you just tap on each of the wires individually. Right there, I tapped on O2. It makes those big spikes. And now I'm tapping on F4, making those spikes. And then we go on to tapping on C4 right there. Everything's looking pretty good, guys. Here in the Windows settings, I set my screen to turn off after 1 minute, and I make it so that my device sleeps never. My device never gets to sleep. We don't want it shutting off in the middle of our sleep study. So after making those changes, I close my eyes and go to sleep. If this is something you're interested in and you want to hook up your own DIY EEG sleep study for non-medical use, of course, go to my website, jaredbeckwith.com, get a machine, and I'll work with you one-on-one to make sure you know how to hook it up and we can record your sleep stages. If you're not interested in recording your own brainwaves and you're, let's say, an EEG student studying for the EEG board exam, I also launched a new board prep app, free demo questions, eegboardprep.com. Check it out. Prepare for your exam, make sure you pass. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next video where I go over my overnight sleep study. It's pretty interesting, guys. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.